What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath251 here with another requested video for my Dragon Ball binge. Yes, I know a lot of you guys have suggested other stuff other than Dragon Ball. I promise I will go through the comments for the past like 2 or 3 months and I will look at your stuff and I will do that. But right now I'm in the middle of a Dragon Ball binge. So don't worry. If you want to suggest non-Dragon Ball stuff, go ahead and I will try to get to it as soon as I can. But right now I'm in the middle of a Dragon Ball binge. But I do appreciate the Dragon Ball stuff recommendations. Speaking of which, this was suggested by LD Creator. Okay? And he suggested this. It's My Problem with Dragon Ball Super's Animation by Zenon's T vlog channel. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is a critique of Dragon Ball Super, and I'm actually interested to see this because I appreciate it when people actually offer a critique on something rather than just, you know, licking its balls all the time like a lot of people do with Superman. You know, it's like, oh, Superman's so great. It's like sucking that super dick all the damn time. Anyway, so let's check this out. See how. Oh crap. My computer's still screwing up. What in the name of Zeus's thundering butthole is going on here? Okay, here we go. This is working. My computer has been really screwed up for the past couple of days, so I am very sorry about that. So let's go.
So I've been ripping on Dragon Ball Super since
you just jumped right into it.
episode 1, and I've become fairly notorious for this.
Oh, really?
One thing
okay,
that
so
comes
this guy really
up
doesn't
almost
like it.
constantly within my reviews is the animation quality. More often than not, I'll talk about just how subpar the animation is overall, using terms like off-model, bland shot composition, sluggish fight scenes, bad choreography. And
yeah, you know, I'm going to have to agree with him on some of the fight scenes and the bad choreography.
I'm talking about. And I've had more than a few people now tell me, hey, can you do like an animation breakdown? Point out this bad animation because I'm just not seeing it. So it's time for me to finally just kind of buckle and cave under that pressure and finally pick apart the animation of Dragon Ball Super and get to the heart of what I'm talking about. And for the record, when I talk about like how subpar the animation is for Dragon Ball Super, I'm not comparing this to Studio Madhouse or Studio Bones or Kyoto Animation, like the top tier gorgeous animation studios of Japan currently.
Okay,
I'm
so he's comparing
Toei Animation to Toei Animation.
Okay, so he's saying that Dragon Ball Super is actually a downgrade from the earlier animation.
Same fucking franchise. So every comparison I make within this video will be to the earlier shows in the franchise. Specifically DBZ, because that's the one that has the most iconography. And it's a show
DBZ
the
is like the gold standard for Dragon Ball.
I'm going to kick this off with the easiest of these things to explain, that is off-model animation. What I mean by off-model animation is just when the characters are literally off the model. The model is how the character is supposed to look from like every angle. Like this is how this character looks from this perspective and this perspective.
Oh, okay, I see what he's getting about this.
From the side, from above.
The thing is, though, you can make this argument about a lot of animations. They screw up. A lot of shows screw up a lot. Okay.
And off-model is just when they don't look right. Maybe like the nose is askew, or the eyes aren't centered, or maybe the eyes are too small or too large, or it's just sloppily drawn. There are plenty of examples throughout Dragon Ball Super like this. Sometimes it's an entire episode, sometimes it's just a few scenes within a really well animated or well drawn episode. But it's something that comes up almost every single episode. You'll find at least 1 or 2 scenes. Usually,
yeah, but you can make that argument with a lot of shows.
That character wasn't drawn quite right.
It just happens.
But then the rest of the episode will look fine. But it is something that I always bring up, where every so often, there's a little bit of off-model animation. And it's something for me personally that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, especially after having watched this franchise for so long, and I know what these characters are supposed to look like. And then when the animators just completely fucking drop the ball, it's really goddamn noticeable. Next, I'm going to tackle the piss-poor fight scenes that happen quite frequently within this series. And my Exhibit A for this is one that a lot of people seem to really like, but I thought was fucking atrocious.
I like that part right there,
Beerus versus Vegeta in the Beerus arc, you know, where Vegeta has his big My Bulma scene. And he lashes out at Beerus. I thought the scene was absolute garbage, and I'm just going to break it all down for why I think this whole sequence is fucking terrible. First off, we have a power-up sequence that conveys no sense of power. It's just Vegeta standing completely still, with his swirling energy around him. It might as well be a fucking GIF just spinning around him.
A GIF?
And then to convey him dashing
That's
across the
mean.
screen in high speed, they take a single drawing of Vegeta and then slowly enlarge it to give this sense that he's moving towards the camera. Once again, slowly I might add, slightly shaking the camera, and then only changing to a different frame of animation until he gets really close to the camera. Go back and rewatch that scene. Vegeta going from a standing position to flying towards Beerus.
A lot of
is
shows do that,
two
though.
frames
They
of
do that. They do
animation
it so
up
they
until
don't
he
have
is
to
right
animate
up
so
to
many
the
times,
camera.
dude.
It looks cheap, it looks lazy, it looks goddamn terrible. Now let's compare this to a very similar scene in Dragon Ball Z where Vegeta is doing a very violent power-up leading into a full-on dash towards the camera. Here we see it, the frame is violently shaking, lights flashing, dirt and rocks are being kicked up, he's affecting the area around him, conveying the mass amount of power he's putting off. And then whenever he dashes towards the camera, it's a completely different frame of animation each time.
It's a completely
And the
different
camera pans
angle,
with him
dingus.
to help convey the speed that he's moving at. Very similar concepts, way different execution. NZ had the much better execution. Now let's talk about flat shot composition using the exact same fight scene that we were looking at before. After Vegeta darts across the screen, we then see from a flat side angle Vegeta coming on screen, slowly I might add, clashing with Beerus and then rapidly punching him in succession. Which of course Beerus blocks with ease.
Yeah.
And of course when Beerus hits him back, Vegeta does this ridiculous spin, and to convey the force of just how hard Vegeta was hit, it's once again a single frame of Vegeta that they're just spinning around in a circle. Once again, highlighting just how cheap the animation is here. And like last time, I'm just
Dude,
going to go
they
ahead and
don't got a lot of
juxtapose
budget
this
for
scene
that
with
shit.
the same fight scene from Vegeta and Raccoon from DBZ. Once again, a really similar concept. Vegeta dashing towards an opponent that he's completely outmatched by, releasing a flurry of blows until he gets nailed down by his opponent. Except here, it's done with a lot more artistic flair. Vegeta is shown dashing towards Raccoon from multiple angles. When he first clashes with Raccoon, there's a real sense of weight to his punch, and his flurry of blows is more visually impressive overall. And the sad thing is that it's not even necessarily a more expensive scene to animate, at least in terms of the actual combat. One of the cost-cutting techniques that DBZ did a lot of was drawing characters doing multiple attacks and strikes and blocks within a single frame of animation to give the action sequences a more high-speed, intense vibe to them.
So he's complaining
which is a technique
about
that Dragon Ball Super is apparently
about Super
completely
does it.
forgotten about. The next
He
topic
complains
I'm
about
gonna
Dragon Ball
tackle
Super
is one that
doing
has less to do with
cost-cutting
animation
moves,
specifically,
and yet he praises
and one
DBZ
that's a
for
bit
doing
more
it.
subjective and really hard to convey.
I mean, yeah, they
And
make
that is just
mistakes,
the
but
basic
dude,
pace of a fight scene. And there's really no better
the pace of
example
the fights
like,
are a little
horribly
slow.
paced fight
I
scene
actually
than the
preferred
Goku
both
versus
Resurrection
Frieza
F
fight in Dragon
and
Ball Super.
the Battle of
beginning
Gods
this fight
movie
is
to
easily
the
one of
fights they
lamest,
actually had in the
most
show. They were
weak
kind of
sauce
weak.
attempts at creating tension at the beginning of a fight I've ever seen. It opens with Goku and Frieza exchanging a couple of weak blows. One admittedly does create some damage to the surrounding area, which is kind of visually impressive, but then that immediately leads into them having a long, drawn-out grapple match where they're just kind of powering up against one another, and this goes on for an incredibly long amount of time. Now, some might argue that, well, it's the beginning of the fight. It's the warm-up.
Yeah, and didn't
Of course
Vegeta
it's gonna
do this
have
with Frieza
a slower
too?
start to
Though I
it.
think it was a
And
little
yes,
bit more
of course,
impressive.
there needs to be build-up at the beginning of a fight. You can't just jump in running on all cylinders. So my go-to example for how to do this correctly is the Goku vs. Frieza fight from Dragon Ball Z. The fight begins with Goku dashing towards the camera, pulling his fist back and landing a massive punch that Frieza blocks, creating a giant shockwave.
See, right
Then the
there,
two
Goku was doing the
disappear.
exact. They're
The
basically
next
doing
scene
most
is
of
a
the same thing that he
cost-cutting
was just
measure,
complaining
but
about
stylish and
before.
effective one. We get quick flashes.
But yet
of the
he
two
sings their
exchanging blows
praises,
with booming
and he
sound
complains
effects
about when
to convey
Super
the
does it.
force with which they're striking with. Next, we move on to another cost-cutting measure, where we see the camera is darting back and forth over a vacant planet Namek, with the sound effects of Goku and Frieza clashing, which reinforces the idea that the characters are moving too fast to be seen, even by Gohan and Kuririn. After that is a slow panning shot over an empty landscape.
Okay,
except
he
this
just
time
calls
we
him
see small
Kuririn
glimpses
instead
the
of
two fighters,
Krillin.
and the
Okay, so this
massive
guy's
amount
like
of
a
destruction that
super
they're causing to the planet
purist
each time they
fanboy,
collide
okay?
with one another. And finally, this leads us to us seeing our hero and villain battling it out for real. Now, the beginning of their fight in DBZ is not only a much cheaper solution to creating a slow build-up to a fight, but also one that's more just effective overall, because it's actually a build-up. We get little flashes, little teases of what's to come, whether it be in just small striking panels, or just hearing the sound effects of them clashing, or just seeing the devastation that they're doing to the landscape around them, it all helps building an anticipation for seeing the actual fight that's about to happen. And it also goes to prove that low budget doesn't necessarily mean a worse product. There's obviously more effort and animation put into the Super version of that fight, but it was sloppily directed and conveyed no tension, resulting in just a worse product overall. And in case you think I'm cheating by pulling some of like the best animated scenes from Dragon Ball Z, well then just look at some of like the worst looking episodes of the series. It's not about animation or art quality here, it's really just about the direction, how to frame and compose a shot, how to pace a fight scene.
Wait, didn't he just say that the art and the animation wasn't good?
Episodes of DBZ understood
and now he's saying that's not the point?
And knew how to use its budget accordingly. And finally, the last thing I want to bring up is something that's a bit vaguer and even harder to try to convey.
Well, the thing about Toei now is that Toei has a lot more money. It's usually thanks to Dragon Ball
Super to compare to Dragon Ball Z than one that they directly recreated from Dragon Ball Z.
Okay, this I'm going to totally agree with here.
Gohan death scene, Trunks becoming a Super Saiyan for the first time in his future timeline. Well, let me just say, as far as Dragon Ball Super goes, you know, this is a finely made scene. It's not, like, bad at all, and I'm pretty sure if people had seen this...
Yeah, this was okay. Like, I agree with him. This was okay.
They're probably
though the movie was better.
Asshole right now. And like I said, it's fine by Dragon Ball Super standards, but whenever you think back to what the original scene was and how well it was executed, you kind of start seeing where my gripes begin. I feel there's no better way to convey this other than just show you both scenes at the same time. And yeah, I made a few little edits so that way they sync up a bit better, but you get the idea. This isn't about pacing, this is once again about
why the hell
atmosphere.
Is Trunks' hair blue instead of purple?
This is just like its use of composition of shots, and the big thing here is just shadows and lighting. It uses those to great effect in DBZ, and in Super they're pretty much non-existent. Super at least kind of goes for some muted colors. It doesn't have the washed out color palette that the original did. It doesn't use lighting and shadows to increase the atmosphere, to create that sense of hopelessness and sorrow that the original Trunks special had. Taken on its own merits,
I think it's a matter, for me, it's a matter of lack of facial expression.
It's just flat when you compare it to what was done in the Trunks special.
The original, the Trunks
special wasn't even like a top-tier animated thing.
The emotion that they put on Trunks' face was just so
but where they really nailed it
much deeper than compared to what they showed in Super. I mean, this just looked like this looked like sorrow, like real grief and hopelessness all at the same time.
But when you compare
see,
it
look
to
at that.
what came
Look how
before,
he's just going.
That's where everything starts falling apart.
But when you see the original one, he's like,
criticism of Dragon Ball Super as a whole.
You would see
when you
it,
compare it to what came before, it all just kind of falls apart. And this isn't nostalgia or being a fanboy or any of that bullshit.
Actually, I think that's exactly what it is, dude.
Breaking down these elements and trying to convey to people, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I'm disappointed. This is why Super isn't visually holding up. Now, it's not to say that Super just completely failed all around. I mean, there have been plenty of episodes that look really great. They have great action sequences, and those moments are great, but they're also few and far between. Right now, Super's highest highs is about where DBZ would land on its average. It never hits the high points that Z does, and its lowest lows are way below what the franchise has ever been at before. So that wraps up everything I had to say. Hopefully you guys got where I'm coming from, what I've been talking about in all these goddamn reviews. Until next time, Zeon, out.
Okay, so that's it. He pretty much just ends it right there. Okay, so yeah, I'm probably gonna get some heat for this one because this guy is popular. He's got 16K subs, but okay, I'm gonna totally disagree. I'm not gonna totally disagree with him. Yes, Super does have a lot of the animation problems, and like he said, how the character models are a little bit odd, but that occurred in Dragon Ball Z like pretty often. Okay. Where characters didn't look right, or they were just like, something was just a little bit off about them. That happened pretty often. And he is, like, being really overly critical, in my opinion, of Dragon Ball Super, in that he praises Dragon Ball Z for its cost-cutting methods, and yet when Super uses similar or even the same cost-cutting methods, he's bitching about it. I'm like, dude, you can't have it both ways, okay? And he says, oh, this isn't nostalgia, this isn't being a fanboy. considering how you're comparing those two things, it seems exactly like. The only thing I really 100% agree with him on, though, is the Trunks' transformation. First of all, Trunks' hair is supposed to be purple, not blue. I still don't get that shit. Okay? And the original Trunks special, I mean, dude, I mean, the look at you just, when he showed it there, the look on Trunks' face in that old special, I mean, he just looks so intense. But then you see in Super, and it looks like, it's like an actor phoning it in who doesn't really care. He's like, and yet when you see it, he was like really intense. So I will agree with on that one. I would just say that, you know, the original just totally beats out the remake later. But I agree that there are some problems with Super's animation, but that's any anime. Okay, nothing is going to be perfect. Okay, there's always going to be like a screw up with models. And yeah, Super does have a problem with its fight scenes. And yeah, that sometimes they do kind of like just take a while to take off. And sometimes certain things even drag out. But he complains about Goku and Frieza's fight when they were grappling. But Vegeta did the exact same thing. You know? And, jeez. He complains about Vegeta's power-up when he fought Beerus compared to his power-up when he fought Recoome. First of all, Vegeta wasn't anywhere nearly as outclassed by Recoome as he was by Beerus, okay? That's a completely difference. I mean, that's supposed to... It wasn't showcasing Vegeta. It was showcasing Beerus. Showing just how damn powerful he was, that even when Vegeta pushes himself beyond his limits and gets super strong, you know, that it's still nothing to Beerus. Okay? Beerus not only is able to deflect his attacks, but he deflects his attacks so they don't do any damage to anything around them. That's what it's trying to portray, and not... Anyway. Okay, so, well, this is something I can debate and something I can talk about. So tell me what you guys think. Do you agree with this guy? Or do you think he's being overly critical like I am? I think he's being just, like, really, really heavy-handed here. But, so, like he said, he's gotten a lot of notoriety for his ripping on Dragon Ball Super. So... You know, and yeah, if I really wanted to go off and find all the mistakes and stuff about a lot of popular shows, I could find a lot of mistakes myself, and I'm not even typically an analyst. I don't usually go through that kind of crap. You know, I don't try to overly analyze everything I watch. This is how I analyze a show, okay? I'm going to tell you guys right now. This is how I analyze a TV show or something like that. One question. Am I entertained? Yes, no, kind of. So, and entertainment has but though it's a simple question, but for me that has various criteria. Like, does the story make me feel invested in the characters? Is it exciting? Is there a mystery that makes me really, really want to know what's going to happen next? Or does the show just basically just pique my curiosity about what's going to happen next? Or are there twists? Like constantly at this show, or does it? Because there's a lot of things that I've read and watched that, like, sometimes they go overboard with the twist, and I just get bored with it. You know, I'm like, is it entertaining? You know, that's what I care about. That's what really gets me. You know, I mean, there's a lot of shows out there that have incredibly shit animation that for some reason people find really endearing and that I can't stand. And yet there are some that have amazing animation that I can't stand. You know, I can acknowledge they have good animation, but I think the show is garbage. And there's other ones with shit animation that I love. Even though they have crappy animation, for some reason I find them entertaining. And that's the only criteria that I think any show should have. Does it have to be artistic? Does everything have to cater to every fanboy who thinks this is how the character should always look at every given moment in time? No, a show shouldn't have to do that. A show has one job, and that's to entertain. So let me know what you guys think about this whole situation in the comments below. And, you know, I'll maybe respond to those comments and stuff. Okay, guys, so don't forget to suggest other Dragon Ball stuff for me to review and check out for the Dragon Ball binge. We got some time left before the final 2 episodes. I don't know if the last episode was aired by the time this is being posted. I filmed this like days in advance. So, yeah, it's kind of a cheat, but it's what I do. Anyway, Tune in every day for new content, guys. Don't forget to share this with the share button down below. Don't forget to check out the original video in the description. I'm actually gonna recommend this guy though, because I like that he's actually, I think he's being overly critical, but he at least gives you things to think about. He gives you something to think about as far as his show. Though I do think he is being overly critical of this show in particular, but I think he does other stuff. So I'm definitely going to check out more of his videos, and I recommend you guys do it too. So check out the original video in the description. You can get to his stuff from there. And don't forget to check out my game channel, where I have my gameplays and stuff like that. You also can check out the Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profiles put up by the man Aaron. Yeah, he still does them sometimes. I don't know if he's going to keep doing them, though. I think he's getting kind of like bored with it or something. I don't know. I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to try to ask him and encourage him to keep making them. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.